So we're here today to launch Tap2Change, where it's a project we're really proud of at the Colchester Business Improvement District. For those that don't know what it is, it's a brand new scheme launched in supporting Beacon House and the resources they offer to those with needs locally. Pop by, tap your card or your phone, Apple Pay, onto the donation machine and it donates £2. 100% of that goes to Beacon House and we will be changing the beneficiaries each year to other local needs to support those that are sleeping rough or those that need special resources that they use locally, such as Beacon House. So alongside this donation machine here, we will have two others that will roam around the city centre. They'll be at large events, they'll be around in the shopping centres, and you can tap as many times as you want and donate as much as you want as well. So please come along and help.
Thank you very much for that, Jess. So it's a really interesting project, something that Colchester has needed for some time. Early on consultations, we were looking at things like how do we increase the leisure, the retail into the city centre, and it was one of my roles to have a look at issues with street-based lifestyle. And I went and spoke to Stephen, and we were able to come up with a concept, this idea of increasing donations into this cause. So it's really good. It's very simple, and I must obviously say thank you to Pay a Charity, who obviously supplied us with our lovely terminals. This is a mock-up of one of the ones that we've got in the town. And it's very simple. So thank you very much, Pay a Charity, for supplying these. Very easy concept. Of course, as you've already seen, you simply tap and 100% goes to Beacon House Ministries. Just so that you're aware, these machines will only take £2. You can obviously tap as many times as you wish, or keep visiting and seeing how the donations are being spent. So just very quickly, Stephen, £2, less than a coffee in the city centre. Just ever so briefly, just tell us how much that sort of £2 contributes to some of the things that you do at Beacon House.
Well, obviously we do a number of things at Beacon House, so the £2 cumulatively can be very important. Just give you an example of some of the costs. A decent sleeping bag is about 35 quid. A decent tent is about the same sort of money, and we use a lot of those. But equally, we feed people every day, and certainly £2 would mean that someone who's homeless, who doesn't have access to food, can get a hot, nutritious lunch. So whether it be, you may think that £2, what can £2 achieve? Well, £2 can achieve individually something very important, and cumulatively something even more important. So it's a question. I always say, the power of a mighty waterfall is just a large number of small drops working together, and Tap2Change is exactly that. An individual donation may be small. Lots of people making that same donation becomes something much more significant.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we spoke about, and we often get asked questions about, why all of a sudden are we doing the donation point? Do you think it benefits modern society to have a contactless donation in the city?
I think without a doubt, digital is becoming the way to go, and more people. Certainly, we foster kids at home, and I've got children and grandchildren, and they do everything contactless. So I think that's an important thing. I think the other thing about it is that most people do now have the ability to do contactless. If you'd launched this 2 or 3 years ago, I think you might have had very limited. And there are obviously people who cannot, still don't. My mum, for example, would struggle with it. She's 94, but she can still donate through local giving on a website. So this is not in any way designed to eliminate people or limit the number of people who can contribute, who want to contribute. It's just a way of making it far easier, perhaps, than it has been in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those that have joined us, and for those watching later on, it's very simple. You can either use your debit or credit card. You can use your wallet, depending on if you're using Android or the Apple systems. So yeah, even if you've gone to the next step of not carrying any cards, you can use your mobile telephones as well, exactly the same as you would in any sort of retail shop. Produce your card on the screen, and you can tap. And we've got a video actually just to show how actually simple it really is. So let's have a little look at this video.
Councillor Tim Young, I'm the Mayor of the City of Colchester, here today to launch Tap2Change.
My name's Vinny, I'm from Colchester Beard, I'm the Business Crime Liaison Officer, and it gives me great pleasure to see Tap2Change now in Lion Walk. We're supporting Beacon House Ministries, bringing lots of hope to those who need Beacon House Ministries. We've got our contactless payment all ready and set up. It's as simple as this. Please donate your £2. Simply bring your card to the glass, it will take your donation and it goes straight to Beacon House. We will keep you up to date with how much money we raise and the donations that we give to Beacon House. Please follow us on our website for more details.
So please come along and Tap2Change.
So yeah, we were very fortunate. Yeah, the mayor had come down to have a look and to be our VIP guest and to tap. And it's as simple as that. You come along. The terminal that you saw in the video there, that's based in Lion Walk. And yeah, you can visit there. But exciting, we have other terminals that will be touring around the city centre, and we will be taking it out into the wider areas of Colchester as well. So if any of you out there want one of the terminals to be placed, maybe you have a business somewhere and you'd like to host the terminal, then please do get in contact with us. The 2 touring terminals are very simple. We can come along and set them up, and you can start donating. One of the aspects of Beacon House, certainly when we spoke early doors, Stephen, this isn't about not helping someone that you see on the street. We're not saying don't hand money, don't give food or drink or anything like that. But what we're trying to say is filter that donation, filter that kindness into Beacon House, so that you can generate all those sorts of aspects you spoke about earlier on. And one of those aspects, Stephen, is the activities that you do at Beacon House. Tell us a bit about some of the activities that you do.
Okay, so we have a full occupational therapy team at Beacon House. So we do activities both internal and external. We take them to do various sports, basketball, football, pitch and putt. We also take them to Liaison, the care farm, and Abboton rural training. So there's lots of things we do outside internally. They may be board games, it might be using the Wii, whatever. One of the things that our guys and girls really appreciate is having something to do with their time. If any of you have ever been made redundant, and I have been made redundant, waking up in the morning with nothing to do and all day to do it is soul destroying. And I remember one of the guys said to me when we were doing pitch and putt, he said, when I'm doing this, I'm not thinking about having a drink. The boredom is, in many cases, the cause of some of the things that they indulge in that are not helpful. So the activities are really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's giving that time that they have that purpose. You're absolutely right. Oh, brilliant! I can go to Beacon House. I can see Steve and his team. I can get something to eat. I can play a bit of pool. When we talk about street-based lifestyle, the homeless, venues like Beacon House, they do become a community, don't they? The people that come in, they start to form friendships between themselves. That's really key, isn't it?
Yeah, for a lot of these people, places like Beacon House, we're only one of a number of, there are organisations of our type in many places, but for some people, it does become effectively their family and their home. It is their safe place. Having said that, we are very much, our sole aim at Beacon House is to transform lives. So To be honest, I'm not really interested in how many lunches we do. I'm not really interested in what we give away, because the practical stuff, whilst being very important, is not the goal. The goal is to take someone from wherever they are, whatever their version of stuck is, to engage with that person, walk with them, and ultimately take them to the point where they're now living self-fulfilled, independent lives. That is the tick in the box that we're looking for. Everything else is a means to an end, but the end in itself is self-fulfilled, independent living.
Absolutely, and that's what we've got to do, isn't it? We've got to bring those donations in, bring that kindness, share it amongst the people that come and visit you, and see them progress. That's what it's all about. People often ask me about street-based lifestyle and the homeless. When it comes to misuse of alcohol, substance misuse, you signpost and support, don't you, down at Beacon House?
Absolutely. And I think the one thing I'd like to say is a lot of people look at homeless people and say, bunch of druggies, bunch of alcoholics. The reality is that for a lot of those people, they were not into drugs and they were not into alcohol before they became homeless. It's generally speaking some form of relationship breakdown that caused them to be there. And then those things become a coping mechanism. But yes, those things do happen, and people become addicted to it. You know, I used to think captivity was bars in a prison, but actually I've recognized in the time I've been in this role that true captivity is addiction. There is nothing like addiction in terms of captivity. So yes, we work closely with people like Open Road on the drug side, Phoenix Futures on the alcohol side. So Beacon House is by no means an island. Some of the things we like to think that what we do well, but we are not experts in everything. And therefore, the synergy of we work with a whole range of partners who have skill sets that we don't have, but together we can work and change lives.
No, it's brilliant. And, you know, thank you for allowing me on numerous occasions to come down. And obviously in my role as a sort of business crime and the street ambassadors that we have here, of course, we come across people that do use your facilities. But before we talk about that, let's have a quick look at a video that Beacon House have produced.
Beacon House exists for one reason and one reason only, and that is to transform lives. How that transformation looks will vary according to the individual, because everyone who comes through our doors is exactly that, an individual person. They have a different set of circumstances, they have a different set of difficulties, but equally they have a different set of assets and hopes and aspirations. And one of the most important things about Beacon House is everyone is treated as an individual, not simply a number, or not simply just another person in need. Everybody is welcome here at Beacon House if they are homeless or at risk of homelessness. It doesn't matter what age they are, it doesn't matter what gender they are, it doesn't matter what their political persuasion is, it doesn't matter what their background is. We treat everyone the same. Each of those people is a valued person, and we seek to treat them in a dignified way and do everything we possibly can to help them move on.
We want to help them feel accepted, feel loved, know that there is hope for them, that actually whatever has happened to them before they came to Beacon House, we can help them to make changes so that they can achieve what they want to achieve.
I first went to Beacon House because I'd experienced quite a lot of domestic abuse, and they helped me and put me in a women's refuge. All I can say is that once you're in that kind of trap, you find it harder and harder to focus on things like paperwork, making sure that you're safe, making sure that you're fed, not getting a drug or alcohol problem. It's a vicious circle.
Everybody's looked at as an individual, and it's basically about empowerment. It's not about us doing things for people, it's about finding a way that we can actually enable that person to maybe release themselves from addiction, to find themselves jobs, to find themselves accommodation.
Seriously, they saved my life. They apply for a place for me, they apply for benefit, they helped me to get a bus pass, they give me an NHS card so I can't pay medication anymore.
From hepatitis C to HIV, from wound care to trench foot, from colds and coughs to COVID, Beacon House Clinic is there to serve some of the most vulnerable and marginalised in society. Beacon House is passionate about serving the homeless in Colchester and the surrounding areas. Statistics show that the average life expectancy for a rough sleeper is just 46. Homeless people are 20 more times likely to die of a drug-related death than the general population. They're 4 times more likely to suffer with a mental health disorder, 50 times more likely to contract hepatitis C, and most shockingly, 9 times more likely to take their own lives.
We offer a very wide range of services and basically try to operate as much as we can as a one-stop shop. So we cover the basics of food, of drink, we provide a hot meal every day, we have laundry facilities, we have shower facilities, we deal with recycled clothing. We equally have a barber who comes in who can make people look more presentable and indeed feel more presentable.
2 years I'm living in a tent and the other 2 probably sofa surfing, but always come back to Beacon House during the day and always had their support. Every morning when I woke up in the tent, freezing cold, probably 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, it'll always be on your mind, you're going to Beacon House, you know at 10 o'clock you're going to come in there and have a hot cup of tea.
So yeah, very impactful video, Stephen, and on there it talked about some of the statistics, the numbers that people look into. When we talk about mental health, and as you said, giving someone something in their diary to keep them occupied, but it's very focused, isn't it? Behind closed doors, what sort of activities you do to benefit. You have outside people coming in. Tell us about the work that you do closely with sort of the opticians, the NHS.
Okay, so I think the first thing to say is that we treat everyone, as I put in my video, as an individual. So no 2 people are the same, and therefore how we work with those individuals has to be bespoke to them. So as I said, we have an occupational therapy team. We have a full-blown clinic. We have 2 clinics and 2 nurses down there. So we can deal with 95% of what's presented medically to us is dealt with on site. We do prescriptions. We now do things like bowel screening and cervical screening. So we do a whole range of things for people who maybe would feel uncomfortable going to their GP, or their GP would feel uncomfortable with them coming because they tend, unfortunately, not to necessarily keep to appointments or necessarily behave as people might expect them to behave. So we're able to give them things like that. But equally, we work with opticians. We have the law clinic coming every Wednesday, and that's really important because some of these people have been subject to illegal evictions. They need some advice on that, or they need some advice on whatever else. We have a whole housing team to advise them. So we're a one-stop shop. As I said, we do have outside people we work with, like people who are specialists, drug specialists, alcohol specialists, mental health specialists. But lots more agencies come in, to Beacon House because the people may not go to them because that's an unfamiliar environment. It's unfamiliar people. If the people come to us, they're, inverted commas, at home. They're where they feel comfortable, and they're much more likely to interact with the people who can bring them help than if we said go down the road and talk to that counsellor. The chances of them going are probably nil.
Absolutely. And people talk about that person-centered approach. Well, that is exactly what you do. You take everyone through that their journey, their individual journey, because everyone's journey is very, very different. And I imagine we saw some of the guests that come to you. For you and your staff to see their progress, that's obviously got to be a big win for you as well.
It is a huge win. I mean, people often ask the question, what's it like working at Beacon House? And the reality is that when you come in the morning, you don't know how you're going to finish the day. You might finish that day euphoric because someone you've been trying to get housed for months, you finally got them housed. You may end up the day in tears because someone you've been working with has OD'd the night before. That is the reality. But generally speaking, it is very rewarding. And what's particularly rewarding, give you an example of a lad who came in. He had been in prison. He had a very difficult childhood. He really didn't speak when he came to us at all. He got involved in the activity room. We realised he was very creative. We walked on the journey with him. He now comes back as a volunteer to help people who were in exactly the same situation as him, and he has that lived experience, which is particularly, we can talk the theory. Someone who's been there, got the T-shirt, that lived experience is crucial. So, yeah, it is an emotional place to work, but very rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely, and that must be what yourself, obviously, and you motivate your staff, the volunteers that help, etc. That must be the best feeling in the world. But of course, you can't do it without money.
Absolutely. Our budget for the year is about 440,000. We don't get any funding from the government directly as such. So our funding comes from a mix of individuals who donate, churches, some companies, some groups. I'm always writing grant applications because about 70% of our income comes from grants. So it is a consistent challenge. And in the current environment where things like utilities have gone through the roof, food has gone through the roof, and my previous life was commercial, I just put the prices up. Yeah. That's not something you do. We have a declining income in terms of people taking the pinch from the cost of living. So understandably, they've got less disposable income to give away. And we've got costs going up. So we have a double negative whammy. So at the moment, it's a fair financial challenge.
So, I mean, for anyone that's listening in there and you're thinking maybe the business I work for, or maybe the local group, and you want to get involved, and maybe you haven't got the time to come and volunteer, but you want to give donations, there will be information available on our website. If you wanted to give more than £2, maybe you can't get into Colchester to tap, then please do contact us. All of the money will go straight towards Beacon House Ministries, and keep providing that necessary work that is clearly working in the city centre. So please, for any of you corporate businesses out there, if you wish to donate more, maybe you wish to do that behind closed doors, if you like, then please do reach out to us and donate as much as possible.
And I think, if I may just interject, if anyone would like to come down and visit us, because I think we can do this, we can show a video, there's nothing quite like being there. So if you feel that either as an individual or as a corporate you'd like to come down and just see firsthand what we do and meet some of the guests, that invitation is there for you.
That's brilliant, fantastic. Now I believe we've got another video coming up, and then there's a few questions for us.
My name's Sarah Brockwell, and my company is Sarah B Marketing Limited. I'm delighted to support the Tap2Change programme. I'm really passionate about helping those that are homeless or about to be made homeless. And having a place to call home is something that many of us take for granted. Tap2Change is an easy way for a company like mine to donate money and to know that 100% of what they're giving goes directly to those that need it most. In this case, the Beacon House Ministries charity based in Colchester. I've actually chosen to give a little more than £2, and my donation will pay for a sleeping bag and a tent for somebody that really needs it. So if you have a business, please consider how your business can support the Tap2Change programme for the homeless people of Colchester. Bye.
When I've been to Beacon House, Steve, the sense I get is that it's very warm, it's very friendly. You know, that your guests that come, they want that interaction. Do you feel that interaction is better in your environment rather in the street because people are more willing to actually talk to them in a safe environment? Do you think there is a perception in Colchester that we have a big homeless problem?
I think a lot of people, their view of what is homeless is street sleeper homelessness. And in the 3.5 years that I've been involved in Beacon House, we definitely have less people on the streets than we did before, but we still have more than we should have. But obviously homelessness is actually defined as not having the legal right to occupy a place of suitable accommodation. So there's the hidden homeless, the people who are in hostels, the night shelter, who are sofa surfing. So there is, whilst we have a very vibrant town, we do have a cohort of people who are less than vibrant.
Yeah.
So homelessness is, you may not see as many people on the streets, but the total number, I would suggest, is equal or higher than it was when we saw more people physically on the streets.
Yeah, there, and that is it, isn't it? And so please, make contact with Steve from Beacon House, because there's some fascinating books, literature, and actual just general information about how to change those perceptions of the people that you do see with a street-based lifestyle. One of the things that really struck to me, Steve, when I visited, and I've said this before, that family, that community feel in Beacon House. And what really touched me was, because you are a family, you do have your tragedies. You've lost guests, unfortunately, but you remember them. Tell people about your remembrance tree.
Okay, so very sadly, in the 3.5 years that I've been there, more than 20 people who are guests of Beacon House have died in that period of time. And fairly recently, we had 3 people die within a 10-day period. And we produced a little remembrance tree. So we had photographs of those people, because obviously the kind of homeless cohort tend to know each other. And people could just come in and they could just write a little note, whatever that note may be, and just hang it from the tree. So it gave people an opportunity to grieve in whatever way was appropriate for them. But the important thing was that these people were remembered, because they are individuals with an equal value to you and me. Yeah. Not always seen that way, but that's the reality.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that family, and sometimes it's those real basic things. Yes, we've spoken about food, the washing, those basics, or having an opportunity to grieve for a friend. That's a basic human right, isn't it, as well? So
it is.
Yeah.
The whole aspect of time is important. You can serve the need all day long in terms of providing food, tent, shelter, all that sort of stuff, and never transform a life. You can't transform a life without serving the need. So those things are really, really important. But almost the biggest gift we can give these people is time. Most of them, maybe in their lifestyle from their parents, if they indeed had parents or carers, a lot of them have been given no time at all. And they get no time in many cases anywhere else. And I always say to our volunteers, just spend time talking to them. You may think you're not doing work as we perceive work to be, but that's probably the best bit of something you can give. It's like kids. You can give kids 10 quid or an Xbox or go down on your bike. As a parent, it's quite hard to sit down, sacrifice what you want to do to give them time. And that's the key thing that these people have probably never had. And one of the most important things, and just listen to them. Give your time and say, yeah, you matter to me. I'm willing to hear what your story is, rather than somebody just jump in and say, well, I know what your problem is. This is how you fix it. Because quite often you're wrong.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But there we go. Anyone out there that wants and feels that they can contribute to that, please do get in touch. And of course, if you're wanting to do some volunteering, and perhaps, yes, I've donated, but I'd like to do some volunteering, then please do follow the website, our Colchester. The links are there to Beacon House. And on there as well, you'll see our sort of timeline of what we've been doing. There are some more events coming up that you'll see. And of course, we've got our running total on the website as well. So thanks very much for coming in, Steve.
Pleasure.
Big thank you to you and your team. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And thanks everyone for joining us this morning.
Thank you.